As an aviation enthusiast, traveling by train has been a cool change of pace. Today, we'll be taking on one of the coolest trains in the United States in the California Zephyr as we go from Denver to San Francisco. This is going to be a blast, and I really hope all of you are excited for this one-of-a-kind experience. Without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. Welcome everybody to Denver's Union Station today as we take on the California Zephyr. This is going to be a really cool train as there's so many incredible views in conjunction with the amazing service that you get on Amtrak. So let's just go ahead and get started. And first and foremost, I do want to say this is just a comprehensive, casual rundown. If you want a more in-depth analysis, I would recommend checking out videos from people like Jeb Brooks. They've done all the details and have went into all of what you need to know with regards to the meals and the views and all the rules and all the fares and all that. But today I'm just going to give you a little bit of a casual perspective, especially as I know we love aviation here, but it's cool to look at these trains every once in a while, and the California Zephyr once again is one of the coolest ones in the United States. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So the inspiration for this was, mutual effort from a variety of people that I was traveling with to go from Denver to San Francisco, and obviously trains are really neat, and this is definitely one of the most beautiful runs in the United States with regards to its landscape. The beautiful mountain regions of Colorado are just truly tremendous, and it was so great to get to see them on this day. So let's just go ahead and get on board and just see what it's all about, everyone. So the moment of getting on, by the way, is just truly tremendous. Anytime that you get on a train, it's very easy and just really seamless and fluid. Typically just get your ticket scanned, and then that's pretty much about it, and report to where you're going. In this case, fortunate enough to have a roomette on this journey, so that just made it that much better. So that was absolutely awesome. If you don't know, Amtrak has three main service products. So they have the main economy cabin, or coach I think is what they call it, and then you have roomettes along with bedrooms as well. So there are a variety of ways to get on these trains, and they're pretty nice. So that's very nice to get started on that. So as we roll out of Denver's Union Station, you'll start to see a variety of really cool landscapes. So that it takes a few moments to get out of town, probably about an hour or so. But anyway, the run from Denver to San Francisco I think is about 40 hours or so. It's a really nice amount of time. If you don't know, the California Zephyr actually goes between Chicago, Illinois and San Francisco. So the first day is Chicago to Denver, and then the second day is Denver to, I believe, that Salt Lake City area. The train runs overnight, so there's multiple definitions for it. But anyway, that's day number 2, and then day number 3, usually the train starts in like Elko, Nevada, which is in northern Nevada, and then it goes on and finishes up in San Francisco by mid-afternoon. So that's what you can expect for the 3-day experience. It covers 51 hours, and there's a variety of stops. As you can tell here, this is day number 2, and this is the most beautiful part of the day. So day 1 is just mainly a bunch of flatland, Nebraska, and other states like that. Day number 2 is curving through the Rocky Mountains, which is one of the biggest highlights and why the train is so busy on this day. Many people will ride just for the day, just, as for fun, just to get in the sightseeing observation car and just look outside at all the amazing views. So that's the main objective of day 2 for most people. But once again, this train's also used for people trying to get from A to B that are not on a time constraint, so it's pretty cool, and it's very affordable as well, typically, especially during non-peak months. And then day 3 is mainly winding through Nevada and California as well, and there are a couple of cool pieces to it, so it's kind of the in-between. It's not as boring as the flatlands, but it's also not quite as exciting as the mountains. So there's a bunch of cool pieces to the puzzle on that, so it's great to think about that. But anyway, so after you get out on that first hour of Denver, that takes you on to where the winds begin and where you'll start to see a bunch of curvature from the track, and you'll be able to see your train leading ahead if you're, for example, in the Sightseer observation car, which is one of the coolest cars on the train. I'll talk about each of them a little bit in depth in a moment. You'll be able to see the train real good, and it's pretty awesome. So that's certainly really cool to think about, and all the various views as well. So yeah, there's quite a few cars here on the train that you can utilize. So of course you have the passenger coaches, which have the coach, roomette, and along with the sleeping accommodations as well. So that's awesome. You have a dining car, which is awesome. If you are in a roomette or sleeping accommodation, you'll have complimentary meals, which is super cool, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it's very impressive, and it's really cool to see. And then you also have the Sightseer observation car, which is one car on the train. Those are the ones with all the glass on top, and they provide amazing views of the landscape and what's going on outside. So they're really cool. They have a bunch of seats on top. Now they are kind of challenging to what's the phrase I'm looking for? They are kind of challenging to stay in for extended periods of time during the peak travel times because, everybody wants to go in there. So usually they put about a 2-hour time limit on how long you can spend in there. So be wise with how you choose to spend your time in there, as it's really cool. But, during non-peak times, I rode that would be I'm thinking the It's the one from Chicago to Seattle. I just can't think of its name off the top of my head. Empire Builder in Montana. That wasn't as busy during April, so I was able to stay in there the whole day. So that was really cool. Anyway, back to the point here. So really great views. I mean, they're just absolutely tremendous. You're seeing them right now. So the California Zephyr has some really unique pieces of man-made history, along with, just how much there is to appreciate with regards to these tracks. The amount of time that went into building this railroad was truly tremendous. I'm sure there's a really good, video about it somewhere, but just crazy to think about all the winds, the twists and turns, how close the train gets to the side of these cliffs and so on and so forth. And the safety that these trains have as well is just tremendous. And the measures and various, practices that have been put in place to keep these trains safe. It's truly tremendous, and a huge shout out to everybody that made that possible. Obviously, the California Zephyr does run on the same railroad that some of the freight trains do, like BNSF and others, so you will see those trains from time to time throughout here as well. So it's really cool to think about, and it's absolutely awesome. And another major component of these man-made pieces of the railroad include the tunnels. Some of these tunnels are some of the longest in the world, which is truly incredible to think about, and how long it takes for all that to come together. Also, with the various roofs that they put over the train so that the snow can fall down onto that and then not onto the train. So it's incredible to think about all these precautions that they've took, and once again, the amazing train that they have developed here, the railroad rather. So it's incredible, and the California Zephyr does an amazing job putting that all on display. But it's not just that, it's also the natural beauty as well. There are so many incredible views from all the various mountains to, glacier water and normal water. You also get into various pieces of the puzzle with, people kayaking in the rivers and the various communities. The California Zephyr does stop many times on its route. Let me get you an exact number here. So the total route, by the way, is 51 hours starting in Chicago and making it to San Francisco. Major stops include Denver and Salt Lake City, but there's also a wide variety of other stops. Some of these are just quick stops. Other ones are longer stops. So, for example, stops like Elko, Nevada and Mount Pleasant, Iowa are quick stops. There's not much going on there. But stops like I believe Grand Junction, Colorado, and Steamboat Springs are longer. They call them the smoke break, but it's a fresh air break is I think the best way to use it. But anyway, it's a 10-minute stop there to just catch your breath, walk a little bit. It's really helpful. So when you're moving in that emotion for that extended period of time, especially overnight, it can become a little, redundant and, for the body, it's good to just have some time to just stand still for a few moments. So that's very helpful, which is another major component of the train I definitely want to talk about is how long it stays in motion. There are times to get off, like I said, but that train stays in motion for a very long time. So definitely be mindful of that and consider it. I don't think that most people get motion sick, luckily, which is great, but just keep in mind, you never know what's going to happen. So I'm fortunate that I've never had any issues on trains. So feeling fortunate to that, and I'll talk about the sleeping experience here in a moment. But again, the views are just absolutely tremendous. Once again, from the mountains to the curves to all of what you're going to see on this train, it's absolutely tremendous through the mountains, and you've been seeing all those views as we've gone throughout. It's truly tremendous, along with the wildlife as well, and the weather variety is truly incredible. So you'll see bald eagles, you'll see various not tigers, but I'm thinking of bobcats and different animals like that are really cool to see, and just all of what's going on. So it's great to see all that different wildlife in its natural habitat. So it's truly tremendous. Again, waterfalls and, all the various pieces. But then the weather as well, you'll go from cloudy to partly cloudy, sunny. You'll have a thunderstorm. You might have a snowstorm. Just depends on when it is and what you're doing. But it's really cool to think about all of what comes with that. So it's truly incredible. It's absolutely amazing. And again, the sightseeing observation car is one of the greatest places to see it. And it's absolutely incredible. So it's really great to see that. And again, the views are absolutely tremendous. So I really hope all of you enjoyed this landscape. This was during August, so you're seeing a bunch of green, obviously. Depending on the time of year you go is what kind of scenery you'll see. So definitely be mindful of that when you're planning a trip like this so that you're aware of what's going on. So it's definitely really important. So that's definitely very cool to think about as well. And back to the dining car for anybody that's riding in the accommodations of a roomette or a sleeping accommodation. It's really cool to see how awesome the menu is. So there's a variety of items. You have 3 different appetizers along with 4 different entrees and 3 different types of dessert. So that's really cool to see, and there's just so many great options on there for the dinner menu, along with obviously the breakfast and lunch as well. So great to think about that and just all the different options that you have, and definitely provides a wide array of different options for travelers. So it's really cool. So there is a really good variety on that. So definitely very helpful in considering that we didn't know what the future of this was going to look like. After the pandemic, it really helped that they were able to reinstate this to its fullest. So that was awesome to see. And yeah, once again, it was just incredible. Getting into the final views for this day, just truly incredible. Just take a look at, once again, the waterfalls, the wildlife, all of what comes with it. It's incredible, and it's just a testament to the beauty of the United States. Colorado's a gorgeous state in so many ways to look at. So if you're looking for great views, flying over it is very affordable, and it goes really quick typically if you're doing a LULCC flight. But as for really getting up close and really taking in the moment, this is 100% the best way to do it. A coach ticket during the winter for $30 is unbeatable, and you can also get off at a city like Grand Junction or Salt Lake City once you've seen all the views. So yeah, that takes us through Colorado. It's absolutely gorgeous, and again, the views are tremendous. And then once you pop out of the mountains, which is about Grand Junction, several people may get off here and fly out or whatever they want to do, rent a car, go where else. But you can also stay on for the rest of the daylight hours, or, the daytime hours, I should say. And that takes you on to Salt Lake City, which Utah also has a bunch of great scenery as well. You'll see a bunch of various land features there that are really cool. So yeah, it's not just all flat land. It's a really good, view if you've never seen it before. So that's exactly what you're seeing here, and it looks absolutely wonderful. So it's great to see Utah as well. So I would recommend, if you're looking for an affordable way to try this train, I would start in Denver in the morning, flying in the morning or stay overnight, and then I would go to Grand Junction or Salt Lake City, depending on what you're doing. So there's various places to get off there, and it's pretty helpful. So it's a beautiful train for those reasons. It's absolutely incredible. So yeah, that takes us on to obviously now where we're getting into the first overnight. So here's the room and accommodations. Honestly, I thought it was really nice. Now, I didn't have any problem sleeping on the top bunk there. Train moves, so it takes a few moments to get settled into that, but especially if you're rather tired, which does help, it definitely will put you to sleep pretty fast. But it might take time, so just keep that in mind. You also can put on earplugs, put on an eye shade, whatever you want to do to try to help the experience as well. So yeah, it definitely is interesting. Now also keep in mind, this is a really key observation. Jeb Brooks does a great job talking about it. In the roomettes, you're sleeping even parallel with the train's motion. So that means that the beds are situated like where the train's moving. So that's that way. However, you're sleeping perpendicular, which is offset to the train in a sleeping accommodation. So the actual beds in those cars are perpendicular, so you're not moving with your body's side is what's moving with the train. So this can be viewed as a pro and a con. I've never tried it that way, so I'm not sure what it would feel like. However, sleeping with the motion of the train, long ways really helped in that regard. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Definitely an interesting observation, but Jeb Brooks' videos does a really good job going into all that. So I'd recommend checking out his videos for more information on those different types of accommodations, along with just how the train flows in general. He does a really good job rounding it out. But anyway, that takes us into the next day. Sleep honestly was really good. I think I woke up maybe twice, but that was just because I was it wasn't the train's fault, just how it happened. So it was very pleasant, non-interrupted sleep, which was great. So that takes us on to the second day. We did get delayed somewhere overnight, and that is a major observation of Amtrak, is definitely have a flexible schedule because you may get delayed at any given time. It does happen, so keep that in mind. Just, with so many freight trains that are coming through and other various conflicts, sometimes the trains have to pull off in the sidings and wait for hours on end. At some point in the middle of the night, we had to wait on a freight train. I think it was at least a 2 or 3 hour delay. So luckily no rush here, but just keep that in mind because it is important to note that. But anyway, the scenery on the second day through Nevada and California was stunning. There's one really cool, I think it's the Donyers Pass, is one of the coolest views out there. It's a really cool line that goes up into a really cool hill area. So that's probably the coolest part. And then once you get down from that, it's pretty flat land, but there are some cool views to take in as well as you go through Reno and Sacramento, 2 towns I've really wanted to visit. So cool to get to finally add them to the portfolio. So very happy about that. And yeah, that takes us on to obviously where we're going throughout. So yeah, the rest of the views were awesome. It was really great to see what Flatland, California was all about, and it was very enjoyable. So yeah, honestly, great views. Once again, I hope all of you are enjoying seeing them. Once again, handful of trees, but also just some wildlife and other features like that were really cool. As the sun started to go down, I think we were supposed to arrive at 3. We ended up arriving at 7, so ended up being 4 hours behind, but that wasn't a huge deal. The only downside was there was no meal planned, obviously, because we were supposed to get there at 3, so a little hungry towards the end. However, the cafe car was an option at that time, so that could have been utilized, but just waiting for a more formal sit down at that point. And yeah, it ended up going really well. It's a really fun train. I highly recommend it, especially for just a day. If you can get, a ride from Denver to Grand Junction or Salt Lake City, that's definitely the best part to run. Not taking any, piece away from the Chicago to, I think, the last stop during the normal, reasonable hours would be like, I think Omaha, probably somewhere around there. It doesn't stop in Omaha. It goes somewhere past that. But wherever it is around that area is where the stop. Lincoln, Nebraska, maybe probably would be where, the last reasonable stop. It's just flat. There's not too much to see. You can see cornfields and all that. So if you're interested in that, you can. But just the action and the thrill of what goes on through Colorado is truly tremendous and highly recommended for anybody interested in a view like that. So it's really cool and definitely recommend that, to say the least, because there's not many other mountain ranges you can see from Amtrak. Unfortunately, the Empire Builder typically goes through the Rocky Mountains in that region during dark hours, so you can't see it very often. Jeb Brooks got lucky and did get to see it due to a delay, but it's not very often that you can see that during the daylight hours. So I think that's the only train where you can really get a good view of mountains in the United States. So it's really cool. Definitely recommended, and overall, this train was absolutely awesome. So feeling fortunate for this experience. It was absolutely awesome. Get to try a train here, and yeah, it's a really great use of time if you ever want to see, Colorado up close or any other region. We'll have more trains coming up, especially excited for the Empire Builder from a small town called Wolf Point, Montana to Kalispell, Montana. That's going to be really fun to get to check that out. So it's a great time and a little bit of all of it. So you'll get to see what we're talking about soon and all the rest of what's coming up. So I really hope all of you enjoyed this experience. I know it was pretty casual, but that's kind of how my view of it was. So I really hope all of you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of it with you all in the future as we continue to move forward here with our adventures. So I really hope all of you enjoyed this. Stay on the lookout for all the upcoming flying content. We have a bunch of really exciting videos coming soon, but nevertheless, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and one of you for watching. My name is Dreader of Aviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. The love you do. My name is Dreader of Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Dreader of Aviation is signing off.